Welcome back, Mongo Fix. Well, today we're working on a microwave. That nice little Kenmore. Their model number for reference. Kenmore Elite. Whoa, so fancy. Story on this one that it run real good, but don't shut off. Let's hook her up, see what happened. Yup, it running. Got a clock. And yup, it no stop. Oh, but that fan kick on. Okay, so hit the start button. Look like the light come on in there. When you hit stop, but something's still humming in there. Oh, when you push the door open, yep, she kicked right back on, push the door, and then it shut off. And it definitely getting warm inside there, so it running. Be real careful when working with microwaves. Microwaves have a ray gun in the inside of them, and it shoot electromagnetic rays into your food, and it vibrate water molecules really, really fast, and that's what heats your food. So when you work on microwaves, you gotta be real careful, because you don't want to end up on the wrong side of a ray gun. Also, something inside here must be shorting the power. Oh, and they got all sorts of safety Torx bits on there. You know, because they don't want no one just opening it up all willy-nilly, get hurt with the ray gun. Well, we'll get this fancy stuff out of here, because we don't want to wreck that. And so we got a nice T20 safety Torx bit. And a couple regular Phillips screws on each side. Pull her back a little. There it goes. And then that loosens her up a bit. And same on that side. And then you should be able to lift the back like this and slide it out of there just like that. And now we can take a look at her insides. Right there, that's the ray gun, or properly, that's the magnetron. See all them fins and whatnot back there? So that's the device that actually creates microwaves. So most likely thinking there's a short to power, so power comes in here, and most likely thinking it's somehow kicking that magnetron on. The white and black wire there's the power. And then it come off there, go into our control board, and then from our control board get down into the big transformer. That's the high voltage transformer, because you need tons of high voltage to actually run a magnetron. So on the other side there, comes out into that big old capacitor, and up to the magnetron. Mongo love that most appliances, when you take them apart, they come with a nice little instruction booklet. This booklet for the technicians who are actually going to service the thing. These little booklets awesome though, because they come with a full schematic of the device, along with a bunch of different tests to run, like this capacitor test. We'll check that out in a bit. And other tests for testing the diodes. Oh, a magnetron test, a relay test, fan motor, turntable motor, and a general parts layout. First, we'll discharge the capacitor. We do that just by putting it on volts and hooking it up to each side of the capacitor. And you can see the voltage being drained off. We know the magnetron works because it was heating up and getting the inside of the oven warm. So we know this high voltage transformer work. We can see the power come in on this line here into here. So suspecting that is probably our relay that shuts power on and off to the transformer. Now the reason the door switch works is it connected down here to that main switch, which is connected to the black wire, which if we follow that, the black wire comes up and back into the transformer. The other wires come up and they run into back to our main power feed. So suspecting that this is shorted, or in essence this relay is just stuck closed. So if we were to disconnect this and put our meter to ohms and then just touch across there, sure enough that relay is closed right now. Now the downside is that little relay is soldered onto the board. So we'd have to either, most likely, you gotta get a new board for this microwave. Might be able to get a relay and then unsolder it, resolder a new one in. But just depends how much you really like your microwave. Mongo don't like it that much. Could always, actually, you could wire in your own switch if you'd like. Run it to the outside or something, and then just you gotta be sure to flip the switch on and off to turn on the transformer, to turn on the magnetron ray gun, which will cook the food in your oven. Only problem is that relay does the cycling for the different powers, so she'll run 100% power all the time, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Capacitors usually go out pretty common, diodes not as often. Then we'll undo the capacitor. Be sure to remember which way to go. Geez, that one big pain in the butt. And we'll get our little diode out. There we go. What a cute little diode. And we get a little 9-volt battery here at 9.54 volts, so that's good to use for these tests. And the first test of our diode is just a continuity check. Do it one way, 0, swap the leads and direction, and 15.6 mega ohms. Our next test is voltage. Connect up one side of our battery, and we'll just connect it to, and that side look good. And then we do our leads like this, and we get 0 volts, and then we just hook it up backwards, and we get 5.8 volts. So that means diode is working. It's only one directional. And for the capacitor test, we got to hook up our battery to the capacitor. So we'll take one side. I'll get a clippy on there. And then the other side, I'm going to get a piece of junk wire. So we hooked up the other side of the battery. So in this case, the positive is the yellow wire. So we got the yellow wire to one side of the cap, red wire to the other. So positive and negative hooked up. It's the lead. Inside there to the capacitor, we read 9.46 volts. That correct? And then we'll touch it to the case. Right there, 0 volts. So now we'll swap the positive and negative leads of the 9 volt. Negative on that one, positive on this one. Retouch the positive side, or the negative side. And retouch the other side. And 9 volts. And 0 volts. So capacitor good. So we get that all put back together. Very nice. Diode back in. So we pick out a switch, got some bolts, a couple drill bits, get our wire stripper cutters, and pick out some nice wire. Of course, when you do something like this, be sure the wire rated for however much power you're going to pull through there. This one, good for 600 volt, at 12 gauge, stranded. And same with the switch, make sure it rated for 125 volts, 20, 30 amps, something like that. That way switch is good too. This is coming from that relay that's shorted to the inverter. We're just going to cut that real quick. And then we're going to strip some wire. Put a little butt connector on there. Do a little twist. Get her good and tight, and same with this one. And a nice little crimp. That 12 gauge wire too big for the little connector, so get some other wire chunks that not as big. And then Mongo crimp this way, that way if maybe someday in the future, if maybe get another microwave with a good board in it, but other parts junk, could connect this back together just like that. Now we just connect our pieces. And nice long leads for the switch. And that looked like a good spot for the switch. So then we just need to mark our little holes for the bolts. Just a little electrical tape job, keep the wires something somewhat together. Feed our switch into where it's going to rest. Tighten the bolts up. get the cover back on. That's why there's so much wire in there. That way you got room to tighten her and move the cover, and plenty of room for that switch won't get in the way. And look at that, we got a time now. That's pretty cool. Put these things back in there. So let's say 11 seconds. So the light comes on, fan comes on, but it's not till you hit the switch. Now she's cooking food. Of course, when it ends, you gotta flip the switch back off manually. So Mongo don't recommend doing this repair because unit damaged, right? So right now, there's no power options besides 100% full tilt because that relay's shorted. She's only going to do 100% power. There's no control over the magnetron or the ray gun except with this switch. As soon as she flipped on, she's running. So you have to make sure to shut it off when it's ready so you don't burn up the machine or start a fire inside of it because she won't shut off, right? It'll just keep heating and heating and heating as long as there's stuff in the inside. But if not, it's just gonna run over current. It'll melt stuff in the inside and destroy the machine, potentially your house. So don't try this at home, anybody. If Mongo was you, Mongo wouldn't do this. But Mongo, and think it pretty entertaining for you folk to see. You could still do it. There's still ways to do it, but not really safe. But can be done. Really, Mongo will probably end up scrapping this machine just because it's really no good, but it was fun to actually, put a switch in it and fix. Well, if you like this video, be sure to like this video. If you like this video and other videos from Mongo Fix, be sure to subscribe. Mongo always working on all sorts of junk. Mongo, thank you.